All right. Lords and ladies, welcome to the first bonus issue, the Dark Knight Trilogy debate, and this will be on the Patreon, and whatever we make the amount of dollar donation or something, you get in on the bonus episodes. Maybe we'll switch over the live performances over to the Patreon too, and that way patrons can catch us live while others wait for it to release. Whatever, we'll figure it out. Anyway, this was sprung on by Ty's heinous accusations. Now, that he's got beef with the Dark Knight trilogy, and I wanted to hear it back then, but we ended up pushing it back, and we figured we'd do it for a bonus. So here it is. What I want to do is, first of all, say hi to everybody. Crave, what's cracking? Ty, what's cracking? Sean, what's cracking? This will be a humble go, but I want to hear it because it's interesting. So let's give the floor to Ty. And do you want to shout out your beefs?
Sure. Well, I think the first thing is for clarifications. So basically my argument is there hasn't actually been, in a lot of ways, an actually good Batman film ever made. Now, here's the thing. When you look at the things that make up Batman, the things that make up the universe, the characters, what have you, a big thing about what makes them unique is varying different degrees. It's the environment, it's Gotham itself, it's the Rogues Gallery. I mean, you've got a lot of different pieces that make it kind of.
Your sound's gone. Did his sound go for everyone else or just me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, but you went silent for a second.
Oh, weird. So basically my argument is the things that make up a good Batman story are missing almost essentially from pretty much every Batman film, with the exception of the Arnold Schwarzenegger Batman film with George Clooney. I think it's Batman and Robin. Now, even then, I have a hard time with those films because Joel Schumacher has said on camera, don't act too seriously, don't try too hard for these films. It's a comic book movie. And that's ridiculous to me. So does anybody know the backstory about the Fantastic Four film that came out recently?
Fan Four Stick or something? I did not see it. I did not see it.
Yeah, Josh Trank film?
Yeah. So the Fan Four Stick film, a big reason why people didn't want to go see it is because of what happened beforehand. A lot of people were tired of seeing this really edgy concept of how they're going to make a comic book movie, which people tend to do all the time. But the reason why a lot of people didn't want to go see it is because he openly told the actress who played Invisible Woman, don't even bother reading any of the source material. You don't need to get any concept of what the original comic book characters are like in any format. Even though the sequence in the majority of the film, beginning and end, is very highly reminiscent of the ultimate Fantastic Four story by Brian Michael Bendis, which is ridiculous. Also, quick side note, why is it so hard for people to just name a character Von Doom? It's a real name. Victor Von Doom is a real last name, and people keep doing that. Rant over for that. The Dark Knight trilogy is a great series of films when you want to look at films themselves, and I'm not going to take away from the fact that Christopher Nolan is a fantastic filmmaker. But as comic book films and Batman films, they're just not really there. Here's a really big complaint that I have really quick. Why the hell is it that every single Batman film makes it impossible for him to turn his frickin' head? I just rewatched the Batman Michael Keaton films, and I'm just sitting there thinking, if you have to spend your entire time doing this, bro, and be ha! In order to turn and fight bad guys, what are you doing? Why does everybody need to have leather or rubber in order to make these characters interesting? It's the same argument for.
I would like to point out they do address that in Dark Knight.
In the sequel, of course they do.
Yeah.
But they brought that shit right back again with Batman versus Superman. Batfleck has no neck and looks like a giant leather thumb. And I like the Batfleck. I like
Yeah, he's
that
huge.
that
He's
portrayal.
giant. Yeah.
He does, and it's frustrating for me because there's been so many varying different times where it's like one actor will be like a really good Bruce Wayne or a really good Batman, but it's never like in between. Personally, I don't really like the Michael Keaton Batmans. And I mean, if I'm being really honest here, as much as a great actor as I recognize that he is, um, Christian Bale is a fantastic actor, but I don't like him as Bruce Wayne, and I don't like him as Batman. His interpretation of
Interesting,
Batman
because
is. Go ahead.
I was going to say I really like him as Bruce Wayne. I think he's got that sort of fun playboy vibe about him.
So that's another issue with me is like I feel like there was so little time spent on him as Bruce Wayne that I kind of forget that he's Bruce Wayne, honestly, the majority of the time. Once you give him the slick back hair and he's got the suit on, you know, he's looking all suave. Cool, I can dig on that. But there isn't enough time focused on him hiding who he is and hiding the fact that he has to be the billionaire playboy in order to have like that secret. Everything else about it has been him hyper focused on being Batman and him hyper focused on following Christopher Nolan's themes within the films.
There's
Batman
usually like
Begins.
one or two scenes in each movie that they focus on that. On him being, I'm just some playboy billionaire or something.
Yeah. That's the thing, though. It's like it's an oversimplification of like what those characters are. I don't think that Bruce Wayne necessarily has to be this big showy person in order to be Bruce Wayne, but I think that it's missing out on quite a bit, and it's some similar criticisms that I have with the comic books. I'm not sure why this is the case, but it seems to me like there's so much focus on filmmakers to make a Batman film that is super uber ultra realistic. And in the case of like Ra's al Ghul, that's fine. Where's the
I think
last?
that only came from Nolan though, because the ones before that weren't super realistic, and it was Nolan that sort of
Not super duper realistic, no, but I kind of accept that some of the previous films were more focused on trying to sell toys than anything else, and that's something that they overextend to.
You're not going to get super realistic from like Tim Burton.
No, not at all. But even then, Tim Burton has said, I don't like reading comic books because every time I read a comic book, I don't know how to read the word bubbles. I don't know how the panels are supposed to be read. He said that, and he says, I don't like comic books. I don't even know to this day why he was chosen to make the Batman films when he acknowledges that he's not a Batman fan. What he did with Catwoman, what he did with Penguin. Do you have any idea how... I actually lost my mind on my girlfriend because I was like, dang it, was the best choice for the Penguin, and it was shit all over. They gave him friggin' like flipper fins, and he was going around biting people's noses, which was a cool scene. But they just did all this extra stuff to make it like, ooh, I'm goth, to like accentuate things, and I'm just not into it.
Yeah,
the Dark Knight trilogy in specific is like really, really good, really, really well done, and people should look at the cinematography, the choreography, the costumes. They should look at the characters and be amazed at the mastery of the cinematography and just the filmmaking in general, of course. But as Batman films, I don't think that they hold up, especially what they did with Bane. What they did with Bane pisses me off. They made him white, have a weird British accent, and they completely threw away his Hispanic heritage, even with the mask.
valid.
Okay, hold on. Okay, go ahead. Sure.
Heath Ledger's Joker is probably the best acting you're ever going to see for a villain, but it's not Joker.
Yeah,
I think it is, though, to an extent. He's playing. I do see elements of a Joker in there.
You can be mad. I know you're mad about this. Go ahead.
No, like with the three Jokers recently, we've got like these three different faces for the character. We've had these three different interpretations that have been shown over the years, and I think Heath Ledger's is very much the criminal that we've seen in Three Jokers. He's a bit smarter. He's less humorous, but he does still have this ha ha ha.
The criminal's the one they mentioned as the Joker who likes to like take down even the crime bosses because he doesn't like organized crime. Yeah, I like that shit. That's how I thought. Yeah.
He even addresses that in the movie. He's like, after fighting you, how can I go back to taking down mob bosses.
Ripping off mob bosses. Yeah.
So I feel like had there been a third movie, he would have been much more classic Joker because he had evolved to fight Batman.
Yeah. And that if he lived and he went on to make a third film with them, that it would have been a better interpretation, maybe more modernized.
Did Sean, you had just watched all three of them?
Yeah,
right?
I rewatched all three in anticipation.
Can I ask a question? In the second one, doesn't Joker say that he can deliver the peace that Batman seeks to make? Doesn't he, like, the whole, because, like, if you think about it, at the very end, he said he's going to get rid of a world that, or he's going to make it like a world that doesn't need Batman or some shit. Like, I'm just saying, because in the third one, in the very beginning, you find out that because of what happened, him turning Harvey Dent into who he was and everything, the Joker got rid of Batman, and, like, weren't the streets, like, cleaned up, even though it was like right? He had cleaned
because at the beginning of 3, they say the arrest numbers have been, like, the Joker's record a G.
He was such a G in that movie. He literally created the peace that Batman couldn't through all his chaos. That was, like, the point, you know? Pretty cool.
But he said he wanted to show that someone infallible could fall to his level.
For sure.
Because that was what he did with Harvey, where he dragged him down to his level.
Yeah.
I can't remember if
There was a novelization for The Dark Knight Rises, and they include the Joker in there.
Yeah, because he was originally supposed to be in, I believe, when they start letting people out Blackgate, he was supposed to be in there.
So what's his inclusion? Do you know? Like what?
Nothing really. He just said, "No, I'm just going to stay, hang out here."
Nice. That sounds about right.
I think he was also supposed to play the role of the judge that Scarecrow ended up playing.
Oh shit! That would have been gnarly. Damn.
So
it's unfortunate.
You know what? I'm actually really happy you brought up Harvey Dent because I almost forgot about that. But that is another thing that I was bothered by. So, okay, really quick. If you want to do an interpretation of a character, again, I'm totally fine with it. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, I would not say. Again, that is such a great performance. Still have a weird time saying that that's like ultimately what Wolverine is, because I still picture Wolverine as this short dude who has lived in the woods and just survives off of just killing and eating those things. I mean, not because necessarily he's like an animal, but because he's been forced into that position. And Hugh Jackman's later portrayal ended up being perfect. I think he mastered that role over time. And that's unfortunate because I think that an actor should be given way more freedom to do justice to a character rather than spend 10 plus years in order to master that character. That's unfortunate. And I think that more speaks to Hollywood than anything. My criticisms actually are really more... Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think with Wolverine, part of it is because at the beginning of the first X-Men film, he doesn't have any memory of his life.
That's interesting.
And does he get his memory back over time, or does he just develop more into that role?
No,
I can't really remember.
Charles at the end, he's pretty much like, in the third one, he's like, I've looked, there's nothing. You know, you're like, damn, dude, what? That sucks.
Mm-hmm. Well, he goes to therapy with Professor X.
Yeah, no, you're right. He does. He has sit-down talks with him and everything.
Yes, I feel like part of it why he might not be accurate at the beginning is because he didn't have any memory of his life beforehand.
I mean, that's a fair point, but even like in the case of people who have amnesia, they still have some semblance of an idea.
Yeah, most people that have amnesia have had their brain scrambled by a bullet, a year or two earlier. I don't know. Every year, I think we're getting like way off track here. Like Wolverine Origins happens in the 90s, maybe.
They never really clarify. It might have been even earlier.
Yeah.
I feel like when you take characters and then you substitute them around a little bit in order to make things fit, like when you place Rogue in place of Kitty Pryde for the connection between Wolverine and one of the other mutants, it kind of develops that level of trying to see your own humanity through someone else's eyes. I can totally dig that. They did the same thing with the Dark Knight trilogy. They had a little bit more of I would say the relationship between Batman and Gordon definitely was a little bit more traditional in the sense of they had a very strictly work professional relationship. But the thing that was really good about the trilogy with Gordon was what happened in the third film when he gets called out by Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character. Which, by the way, that character, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, is the reason why I don't like the Dark Knight trilogy the most.
I agree.
I hate it. Christopher Nolan hates the idea of Robin so much that he made it a joke. You should go by your nickname, Robin. Okay, cool.
My main complaint with the Dark Knight trilogy is how Dick Grayson should have been introduced in Dark Knight.
Agreed.
The whole movie revolves around addressing Bruce's idea of his legacy, because even Harvey Dent's like, Batman doesn't want to do this forever. And Bruce sort of thinks Harvey's going to be the one to follow this on, take down crime in the city. Batman's time is limited.
Okay.
But then obviously Harvey falls, and
Can I? What if? I've heard two different things, that there was going to be a fourth movie, but then there wasn't going to be a fourth movie. I don't know which one to believe. Whatever. My point is, if there was a fourth movie, I think that would be like more acceptable to actually have a Robin get introduced, like hardcore. But if it was a trilogy, I think it's a Batman story. You know what I mean?
Sure.
The subtle nod towards it.
Yeah.
I think
It was just
more
the
appropriate for, at least for Nolan's films, at least where he'd already gone with it.
But it was just the emphasis Dark Knight had on Bruce's legacy and Batman's legacy, and how Batman wasn't going to be needed forever.
Right.
And they focus on his legacy, and then have the movie like, oh, he doesn't have a legacy because Harvey Dent died. And I feel like if they had the end with him like, oh, I thought Harvey was going to be my legacy, but it's actually Dick Grayson who's going to carry this on, I think that could be more powerful. And then have potentially in Dark Knight Rises, Bruce could have been retired, but then Dick Grayson was running around as Nightwing.
Yeah.
Then maybe Bane breaks him instead of Bruce, and Bruce has to come out of retirement to fight Bane or something.
Get the time machine. Let's go back to 2010.
But
Do the
what was Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character called? Blake? John Blake? Was that it?
Who?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. What was his character's name?
He should have went by his middle name, Robin. That's all I remember. You know,
Or maybe he was going by his middle name and his first name was Robin.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, because at the end he says his legal name's Robin, but
Yeah.
he doesn't say. Yeah, but his character just felt so awkwardly put in there.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It was just like, let's just have this character here.
If they called him Dick Grayson, I would have been happier.
Does anybody?
I would.
Sorry. What did you say? Sorry, Ty.
Sorry, Craven. Your sound is like getting a little wobbly. I don't know what anybody else's is getting that way.
No, I turned on the noise suppression just to see how that worked out.
Okay.
It doesn't like my voice. I'm too monotone.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that if anybody else noticed this, but I mean, he found out that Bruce Wayne was Batman just because like he was able to see him, and that feels to me like Tim Drake. Which is an interesting choice. Now, don't get me wrong. If you had made him a high-flying trapezeman who was a street urchin who also stole Batman's wheels and then also was the smartest dude and figured it out all at once, I would have been like, okay, cool. You're trying to lump them all together. Weird, but I would have at least been fine with that rather than just weird placement character. It's as bad a decision as in Spider-Man 3 when they made Gwen Stacy randomly show up to be the love challenge interest for some reason. I don't get that.
I couldn't get through Spider-Man to Amazing Spider-Man 2. I tried to rewatch it. Didn't even get through it.
It's hard.
I don't like Sony's film style sucks. I don't know. They blow it sometimes with these. I don't know. It's hard to walk.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is the issue.
Sorry, I'm just interrupting. Going back to the point you said earlier about Heath Ledger's Joker. I made a note in my phone about this. One thing he does that is very Joker and very sort of, I'd say, Arkham Joker, is when he's locked in the interrogation room and there's that cop watching him, he gets into the cop's head to make him sort of fall into his trap, which I think is very Joker.
Yeah. Does anybody think that the Batman was too good? That was like meaning like he was too good of a Batman. He didn't make enough mistakes. I don't know. I like a Batman who like, I don't know. Like he never got caught. Like okay, yeah. Even his okay. So I think a good way to put it is his darkest scene. He never got sucked into the abyss. Is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? The abyss. Mm. He never. I don't think. Yeah. But and the only reason I criticize it is because I heard a Christian Bale I read an interview, and he was talking about he came to the state, like when he came to set, he brought something he wanted to show that Batman isn't perfect. Yet he even said himself that when Heath Ledger showed up, he blew him the fuck out of the water with how like Heath was just so effing like on point with his version that like Batman had no choice but to be this. I don't know. So he really wanted to go in and show Batman's flaws and stuff, but I don't know. He was like, he's literally, and because he was such a good Batman and so upstanding, and like he's like my one rule and all that shit, and he never really beat some. They never really showed him like talk or I'll break every bone in your body type Batman. That like now all the normies they go and say like,
I think he
they
he
have
did
this
say
blind
something
vision
like
of-
that. He did
what
say a
was it?
line like "talk or I'll break every bone in your body." Not to that extent, but he did say
Had them,
something similar.
I
I think it
give
was
me the
Bullock
scene
dangling
because
by
that's
the
the
thing.
best scene. Like when
I think
he,
most of like the stuff that you
No,
guys
but
are talking about was relegated to Batman Begins. I think there's mistakes that he makes in the first movie, and then they're like, okay, well we're past all of that.
well, I do believe that The Dark Knight is a 5 out of 5. It's probably a 6 out of 5. In my
As a
book,
film,
it's-
sure.
yeah, I really, so I definitely get what you mean. There were more, like it was damn near, dude. I'm gonna be honest. For Christopher Nolan's version of his universe that he drew up, using what he used, the Nightfall like saga shit
Yes.
that was going on.
Yeah,
like
Nightfall and No Man's Land was sort of
Oh,
what he used for Rises.
Okay, so for what he was going for, from the very first scene of The Dark Knight, it was he was standing there with a mask and a bag or some shit, and then like the clowns are like, "Have you seen him?" He's like, "He's not wearing a mask. He's wearing war paint or some shit." I was like, "What the fuck?" He was just drawing up this version of the Joker from the very. You see him in the very beginning. It's sick. It's just like I thought it was cool.
Sequence. Don't get me wrong. That opening sequence for 2008's Dark Knight is easily one of the coolest,
Yeah, it's
smoothest,
badass.
most beautiful sequences you'll ever see in an opening in cinematic history.
And the
No
banker was cool as shit too. Like he was like fucking like he was sitting there blasted. It was awesome.
I also like the scene towards the end of the movie where Batman realizes, oh shit, the clowns with the guns are actually the hostages, and they're like all taped up, and it's
He
actually
did
the hostages who are the
swappy
criminals.
pill. That
And
was
he's having to like go through the building, taking down the SWAT team non-lethally,
yeah.
and he's like jumping like through stairwells, and it was just such a cool scene.
Pretty much the worst thing from what I recall, the worst, like, Batman never going to the abyss. The worst thing he ever did that could be like criminal is that he used that, what it was, Brother Eye. Was that their recreation of Brother Eye? Like that, like, or whatever it's called.
I think it's called
OMAC,
Brother Eye.
yeah.
Something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
OMAC, yes,
Brother Eye.
Yeah, but isn't that
Brother
like
Eye was the satellite he made, yeah.
Yeah, well,
That sort of
okay.
led into Infinite Crisis.
Was that, what's it called in the movie again?
I don't think they name it in the movie.
Oh, they didn't name it in the movie. Oh, so it has
No.
a name in the comics?
I think it is Brother Eye.
Yeah, okay, that's
And
what it was
so
like. It
much.
was like his. I just
Brother Eye.
assumed it was his version of like watching everybody, So Brother Eye, So that was like his most criminal act right there, which is fun. I just wanted
I'm
to
actually
see him.
happy you brought that up.
Somebody had to like Commissioner Gordon had to like pull him off and be like, ah. I guess the Joker
Sure.
scene in the interrogation scene was pretty good. Like meaning like. He went pretty far. He definitely drove Batman to the abyss. Okay, I take it back. In the interrogation scene, he kind of went to the abyss there. He was getting close. It was pretty cool.
Sure.
So that's what I got.
The thing that I really enjoyed about the sequence in Dark Knight when Morgan Freeman actually catches him, which, by the way, Morgan Freeman is Lucius Fox. It's nice to actually see Lucius Fox actually appear in films, and rather than have that character just like tossed aside.
He's big,
and he's big. He was a great role in the movie.
Super important.
Yeah,
super important.
And I like how he knew. Bruce outright told him, but Lucius knew what was going on.
Was the guy who came in and he was going to be like the banker for all the mob's money? Was that supposed to be the underbroker? Like
in 3.
In the second one, when he's like when he's like a Chinese man, then he gets extradited to China.
Oh, no, the underbroker is Daggett from the Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, they show him in that. Okay.
Yeah, he is Ben Mendelsohn's character, I believe.
I just thought it was that guy.
Oh, that's him? Oh, that's hilarious. Okay.
I think, anyway.
I didn't know that.
I don't know. I just thought it would be cool because he was handling all the mobs and money.
I'm
you know
wrong.
what I mean? He was handling all the mobs' money. Like,
He's actually a new character whose first appearance was Batman 92 a few months ago.
who is?
The Underbroker.
Oh, he's brand new. He's
Yeah.
not like old school. Oh, damn.
I think. Anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Thank God.
brand
I
new.
thought I was going insane.
Oh,
Okay,
I
cool.
had no clue. I just
Yeah,
I got
only
the names
seen-
confused.
Yeah.
My bad.
So the thing that I like about The Dark Knight with that sequence is that Lucius Fox comes up and meets him and is talking to him about like how are you going to find him, and it really felt like it was reminiscent of the Patriot Act, and that was the thing that made Lucius want to walk away. I liked that because it shows the corruptibility of power with a person who thinks that they have the ultimate means to do right, even at the consequence of other people's civil liberties, which I think is really topical. I think that it might have been a little bit of an overglorification to do so with this, but I think that placing him in the bad guy role, Batman as the bad guy for doing that, and then abolishing it later, kind of tells a story about what's going on here and what needs to happen here, which I appreciate. I think something that's not like a huge shove it in your face kind of commentary is really nice and a little taste, a little flavor. It does kind of strike me as weird that doesn't get brought up ever again. I understand and I recognize that, Lucius says, I'm not going to work with you anymore, regardless of what happens. And then they destroy it. But it kind of feels like that's a really
Lucius
big...
does say, while this machine's at Wayne Enterprises, I can no longer be here. So consider this my resignation. And then obviously he destroys it. So.
But again, I feel like that's such a weird thing to just be like, yes, this is the massive tension in our relationship, and I'm never going to bring it up to you ever again. While I recognize that they're films and they have limitations on time,
And
it feels like that could have been a conversation that could have happened in the sequel.
To be fair, though, Rise is set 8 years later, so this conversation could have happened in the meantime.
I mean, yeah, that's true. But I feel like when you're doing a storytelling experience and you're sitting there and you're like, well, I'm going to have these characters who have not interacted with each other in this time, I feel like this is going to be something that's going to get brought up. Like, if I don't talk to my dad because he went to prison for 8 years and then I don't talk to him about being in prison, that's a weird thing. That's a weird choice to have.
One thing that the third movie did right was include the Gotham Bats, the football team. You know what I mean? I always like that shit.
That was really cool. Yes.
I always love that.
I want more shit like
Batman,
that.
I'm gonna talk about it real quick. They included that too. Like, he was like, they show, and in the Justice League, they're probably gonna show like
wait, were they called the Gotham Bats in the?
Oh, no, I don't know what they were called. I don't know what they were called. I'm pretty sure that was the Gotham Knights. Okay, yeah, I think I have. I think they're the Bats in the comic, like, or that at least that
no, they're the Knights in the comics.
One's Bats and the other one's Knights. Bats is like a joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
I love
it was
Bats the baseball team.
It was Gotham High. That was it, and it was I think their team, their high school team, not professional. So they're called the Knights, the pro team, or the
yes,
yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I like the football shit. I thought that was cool.
Sean just said that Bats are a baseball team. Yeah.
Okay.
So I know it's hard to do when it comes to story building, but I think it's really necessary. If you're going to tell a story that has an environment like this, especially an environment that's based on Chicago, you have to have like the layers that go behind it. So when you have something like the Gotham Knights football team, or you have the names of the 3 bridges, those are all little details that really give life to an environment like that. Top tier choice. Love it. I want more of it all the time. The thing that I want to see from the Batman film is sorry, what?
Kind of odd they used the Steelers that were shooting in Pittsburgh. So, I mean, they shot like Dark Knight in Chicago, but they're shooting that stuff in Pittsburgh.
I think I've been to Pittsburgh to do some family stuff, and I'm pretty sure I've seen the tower that he. I don't know if he does any perch scenes, but there's a fucking one tower. You're like, yo, that was.
There's actually like Pittsburgh Steelers players that are in that football, playing football players in the movie.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. So I've been on the streets that the Bat's been on. Cool. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Two things. Nice. One thing that I don't really want to happen, and they've already kind of done this. I don't really understand the need or necessity to continuously make superhero costumes really heavily armored. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes it's really cool. I really like it. Like, I acknowledge that you need like a chest plate or something if you're going to get friggin' shot at, or a helmet. I dig on that. Totally fine. But if you're going to continuously make your characters look like they're about to go like cosplay as like old steampunk knights, I feel like that's just kind of
I
defeating the
do
whole like,
agree,
origin.
but I feel like in these movies where they're so based in reality, and we have him go into like the R&D department being like, "What have you got for this?" and he's being shown these armors. I think it works in this context, but like I do agree, like an MCU film where they're having like full on body armor is a bit weird. But I think in the Dark Knight movies where it is based in reality,
I think you're in for a treat.
This is the issue.
Jupiter's Legacy,
exactly what I mean.
when that comes out.
Sorry?
When Jupiter's Legacy comes out, I think you're in for a treat with that, because they don't wear, huge sets of armor or anything like that. Most of them.
So this is kind of what I mean is like, if you're making a superhero film, we already acknowledge that it's not reality. I don't need it to be the most realistic thing in the world. If Batman is the greatest detective in the world, which by the way, never gets utilized in any films ever, ever, ever. When do you ever see him go around being like, "Oh, solve the crime"? Never.
I think
you
the
never see it.
Pattinson one is going to do that. I think the Pattinson.
I hope that
do
dives into
It looks like it's a detective story.
Exactly.
Also with a lot of broken bones, so
Here's the thing that I want from the Batman film that's coming out. I want more detective stuff. I want an acknowledgement that things don't need to be super reality. I don't really give a shit. If you're the world's greatest detective and you're jumping from, rooftop to rooftop and you've got a bunch of gadgets, yeah, you're going to have some of that on you and everything. But I mean, he was trained by the League of Assassins. Like, he doesn't need a crazy amount of body armor in order to be super reliable and strong and powerful. I mean, he's able to break your hand 5 different ways and then be able to know 25 different ways to take you down before he even like starts fighting.
I think his suit like could be more like I know I'm gonna bring it up, but if you look at Ben Affleck's suit, it's very skin tight. It's just like almost like blade proof. Like if he gets swiped with blades, it can't cut. It's almost
his
like a special
suit
material.
Does look
it's very,
I agree
like,
about Batfleck's suit being good.
So like almost like if you look at the Panther, it's like this cloth like vibranium suit, So I just think that the Batman could totally I think there's 2 different Batmans though. That's the thing. Like I think there's Batman who's centered in reality. Like even Pattinson's. Look at him. He had a lot of armor on in his bat suit. And then you have Batman who could go intergalactical, like Ben Affleck's Batman's. Like he's obvious. I don't know. It's like 2 different worlds. I mean, it just seems like if you're gonna place the movie in realism, then you have to add armor. Or it has to have some form of like pieces of it. Otherwise,
I mean,
I don't know. That's just what I'm saying.
No, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. I mean, the thing is like I don't picture Batman being a character that's going to dress up like the Punisher. The reason why that is necessary is because you know what you're going up against. Yes, you're going to go up against criminals that are going to have knives and guns and what have you. But I feel like one of the benefits of being Batman is being strategical, smart about being able to take down your enemies in the first place, so you can avoid being in hyper violent situations.
Stealth.
Yeah, show off that 900 IQ.
That's what I'm saying. Stealth. He's a freaking ninja.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The entire basis of the character is centered around being super intelligent and really not super strong and powerful, but a master strategist.
Do the Sherlock Holmes sort of slow-mo, strategize, whatever thing.
Oh shit, that's cool. That would be that's a neat little thing.
I really would have liked that. I would have liked.
It's almost like detective vision or some shit, or like it's just that's like.
What was the question? Sorry, Ty.
No.
What's that guy's name? The guy who
Crave just pointed out that maybe like
Guy Ritchie.
Yeah. Was it? That's who it was.
Guy Ritchie.
Okay. Yeah, Guy Ritchie. Thank you.
Who's trust Sean on this.
Sorry.
I said trust Sean on this.
Yeah. He got it's a Guy Ritchie.
I name dropped him in the chat earlier as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? You would have done a really good job with that. You were saying something about Craven, my dude.
What?
Yeah, I forget. Crave. Oh no, I thought Sean. Well, Sean was like, "What? Come again?" And then I was like, "No." Crave just said how like his fight. It would be cool if like when Batman was like about to go up against like 4 or 5 dudes, that all of a sudden it went into like Sherlock Holmes, Robert Downey, detective or whatever, where it like slowed down and then it's like. And it like he could pick. He's like, I'm gonna slap you in the face, which is gonna make you spit on your friend over there, and I'm gonna, like, I don't know, just some funny shit. That's dope.
No, I completely agree.
That would have been a cool thing to include. Just like he's just like ultra instinct, you know. He just doesn't even need to think. Does. Yeah, that'd be cool. I think, you know, not to bring up once again the Batman v Superman, but I just have to say, once again, since it's not centered in super realism, as like you can see the Batman when he comes down. There's like scenes where he's on like it's on like the camera footage, and it's like Batman just like comes down out of the fucking ceiling, like grabs this dude and sucks him back up. Like it's not. It's almost like
I will admit the warehouse fight in Batman vs Superman is good.
yeah, like
so
that's
cool.
it's just
so cool.
I'm just saying like it's
Not
almost
the
like
he throws a grenade at a person, but
yeah,
rest of
right. The thing I want to say is like I have to say that it is more comic booky in a sense of its craziness, you know what I mean? Whereas the other movie is grounded and very you know, and it's almost like that's why Batman can fucking swoop down and like scoop somebody up out of nowhere, and it's like, but meanwhile, you know, Christian Bale would be like Batarang,
yeah, because
down, I got you. You know,
the Dark Knight films, he is very much a brawler.
Yeah. So it's you know,
he fights with force over strategy.
Yeah, you know, and he's like going up against me. And that shit was dope. Yeah, that shit was dope. I did
he's like an
that.
angry ape. He actually said that in interviews. He said, when he put on the suit for the first time, he said he felt so buffoonish, which, by the way, if you're wearing a friggin' Batman costume, how are you going to feel like a buffoon? If I was Batman, I would just be walking around making Batman voices all day.
Dude, I would instantly be sucked into the role. The cow would just like suck me in.
Do you know where the voice came from?
Probably the same spot. No. Probably the same spot Rorschach's voice came from, wherever that is.
Kind of. Christian Bale said that when he was wearing the costume, that he felt like he looked like a buffoon and a crazy person. So he felt like the only way that he could portray a character wearing a bat suit at night fighting criminals was to act like a complete fucking psycho. So that's where the whole like thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was just, you know, taking inspiration from the Batman animated series.
I think he.
Because that was the Batman animated series was when they first started doing like two different voices for Batman.
He would say talk or I'll break every bone in your body. I liked it.
But with the Conroy voice, it was the same voice but two different inflections of it.
Yeah, he took his already Batman voice and when he put it, or I'm sorry, his Bruce Wayne voice, and he just added some grit to it for his Batman, like nicely. You know what I mean?
The differences between his Bruce Wayne and Batman voice are subtle but very effective.
Yes, yeah. Master wordsmith. Or you know, he earns the title of anytime I read a Batman comic. I read it in his voice.
I hear Conroy and Hamill every time.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, you know what? Lately, I have been hearing
Jared Leto.
Are you trying to
the best Joker?
I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. When I heard that it was coming back, I looked at my wife and said, if I don't get a I'm gonna freak out. So I better get one. That shit was hilarious. Like, what the fuck? It
sounds like the Count from Sesame Street.
I feel bad for a guy who seems like he's a very take it serious actor. I feel like he might have gotten screwed. So, you know.
He did get screwed.
I mean, he said so at a concert.
Yeah, I thought that the movie itself isn't really, you know, the story was just like meh. You know, I don't know how much you can really change.
It was such a generic action flick.
Yeah, that's the thing is why, you know, but if they ever did release the version where he's in like an hour of it, I would definitely rewatch it just to like give him a chance. And I guess he's gonna get his second light anyway in Justice League apparently. Yeah. So I bet you the only thing is him going.
Did I send you guys the news article? The headline was 2020 reaches new low as Jared Leto returns to Joker.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was great.
Man, that's
brutal.
Rough. Did anybody? He's playing Morbius, isn't he? Isn't he like?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Again, he's such a talented actor. He chooses some weird ass films.
Have you guys ever seen Requiem for a Dream? Very good in that.
Oh my god, so good.
Good. That's a fucking nutty ass movie.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, any other beefs or qualms in this
okay,
Dark
Knight really
trilogy?
Quick before we go into this, I really just got to say, you're gonna hate me for this. Well, maybe you will. I hear Skarsgård from It now when I'm reading Joker, and I can't help it. I don't know why.
Interesting.
Has he been?
Yeah, you all just went.
I'm just trying to think of like Joker lines in his voice, and it's like I can kind of see it, but
Yep.
Yeah,
It's a
weird.
little extra, but in some cases it works. It's really weird.
It's creepy enough.
I didn't like it too. I didn't like.
No, I don't think
It too
did.
sucked.
Yeah.
I
just want to say, going back to Rises, it's definitely the weakest film in the trilogy, I feel. And
no, I agree. I mean,
it's the most Christopher Nolan of the trilogy as well.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Where he's
Especially
taking it
really quick.
Where he's taking it too far.
I have a real question for not just people here, but just in general. Joe Chill. With the backstory of Batman and the importance of killing the parents, should he have known who Joe Chill is, or should he be a character that like is so synonymous with crime in general that he seeks out criminals as acts of vengeance because he doesn't know who that is? I feel like it's more impactful.
I like the idea that he never found him, and that's why he has Robins, because he wants to give them a chance to bring. He never got to bring the killer to justice, so he wants to be able to bring, or like that's the reason why he takes on a Robin.
I think in the comics it's very much like he's like, I do this so no child has to feel what I felt.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean,
it has changed three times.
Dog. He's not supposed to, be some crime boss or anything.
Who's sorry?
No.
He's just supposed to be a lowly Lolo.
Oh, Chill.
Low
yeah.
life.
Yes.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So
Chill is just
changed three times. With the original backstory of him, his parents being killed, there wasn't really a confirmation of who he was. That changed with 0 Year, and that was confirmed that a character named Joe Chill killed his parents, and he was able to determine who it was.
0 Year
then
or Year One?
Again. 0 Year. Yeah, think about that. That was a long time ago. It was the not 0 Year Scott Snyder, issue 0 specific with the 4-issue miniseries.
You froze Sean for a good 15 seconds. You froze him. He was frozen.
0 Hour was the name of the series. It had a character that nobody remembers, and it changed the timelines.
Yeah, it was like Parallax and that stuff, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes. So after that, that's when the Joe Chill memory kind of came into place. Then it changed again with Jeff Johns' Justice League when he enters the Mobius chair, and then he asks, "Who killed my parents?" And then he's able to go visit him. Peter J. Tomasi writes that single issue of him going and visiting
but
Joe Chill.
He already knew Joe Chill killed his parents at that point, because he asked and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's right, Joe Chill." He acts like he already knew who it was before he asks.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. Give me a second to find it, because I'm pretty sure the way he acted, he's like, it's like he was testing the chair.
We have to rate this real quick. Rate it as a rate. Right.
Wait, I've got another complaint about.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay, do
it. Just the ending is a mess of the Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah,
it's so Christopher Nolan.
Well, yeah, I mean,
ambiguous.
Ambiguous. There you go. Yeah.
But there's no way Batman escaped the plane.
No.
We see the plane already out over the water, well past land, and then it cuts to Batman inside, still driving it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way he got out, because he's already well over the harbour at that point.
Maybe it was just meant to be ambiguous. Well, I don't want to defend that, because I hate that fucking
shit.
Shit,
like I said, Rises is the most Christopher Nolan of the trilogy.
Yeah,
and I think
that's one of my biggest beefs with. Even though I really like Christopher Nolan,
his
ambiguous nonsense pisses me off. But it's all right. It's fine.
Yeah. But I liked it in. I liked it in Prestige. I liked the ending. Inception, it worked really well. Interstellar, the ending was great. But it's just, I don't want Men of Batman film. When number 1 and 2 was so.
Of them. I hated everyone.
Inception was the kind of movie where it works. It was a trippy film.
That's probably the only one I'll give it to be honest with you.
What was the ending of Prestige?
He sees his second twin. He sees the twin.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, how crazy was that they were just like, oh yeah, by the way, magic is real, but it's science. But by the way, here's Nikola Tesla, David Bowie.
Right.
But it was such a good film, I didn't care. It just worked.
That's fair. It's a good film.
Yeah, I like that kind of stuff. It was good.
But yeah, I think Batman Begins is the most comic booky of the trilogy.
Yeah.
And it's there are
Well, even Gotham's not even real in that movie. Wait, did you say which one did you say? Batman Begins?
Begins, yeah.
Yeah,
Ty seems to want to argue that.
Well, that's a created Gotham. I'm pretty sure that's like CGI. That's not that was like a
some of it, yeah,
slapped together.
But they actually did film a lot of it. They wanted to film more in Dark Knight because of it. But okay, well, what do you mean by comic booky? Because when I think comic booky, I think this is kind of pulpy, kind of over the top camp.
It's the least grounded in reality compared to Dark Knight and Rises.
Strongly disagree.
Okay.
And the reason why specifically is because there's no Lazarus Pit. The scarecrow toxin is at least reminiscent of most basic hallucinogens that people talk about. The mass hallucinations in the city is actually pretty feasible. Ra's al Ghul is not 150 years old and is not in charge of a League of Assassins that knows like magic and has deep ties to old ancient, air quotes, Asian ancestry and magic and arts and mystery and everything like that. I feel like at least acknowledging that there are prisons that are based in foreign lands that bring in literally just slave labor and that's it, as a place for him to kind of grow and learn, and then being indoctrinized into the League of Assassins is not that unlike being, I don't know, being brought up into ISIS. I feel like it's not that different. I feel like if there's going to be anything that's a weird comic booky, I don't really understand still to this day what Bane's mask, what the purpose of that was. What was he breathing in? There's no toxin.
I don't know.
It
said against pain and pain.
His back.
I think there was, little canisters in his mask.
Yeah, they say it keeps his pain at bay.
Yeah, and like, what is that? It's not attached to anything. He's just
no, because he
there.
never.
I think when as like at the end when Batman's fighting him and he punches it and he breaks it, like some of the little tubes come out. You hear like a air canister type sound.
Yeah,
and he starts screaming in pain.
Yeah, so like,
there is something.
Didn't his back get broken?
Just morphine, just breathing in morphine.
Yeah, but something enough to like, I don't know, keep him sharp.
I don't know. In Begins, it's just Gotham seems much more like comic book Gotham. Like it's got the monorail, it's got the Narrows that are very sort of a little bit Tim Burton-esque, where it's always sort of, it feels a little bit Victorian as well. Like all these houses sort of on top of each other.
Yeah, look like
narrow
cardboard boxes slapped together.
Yeah, and like the microwave emitter thing that the bad guys steal.
Mm. Oh yeah, like, you got the pipe that opens up that's carrying water, and that didn't just burst out and shoot water everywhere. It's just unpressurized water running through the city.
I'm not gonna lie, I still think that Ben Affleck's portrayal of Bruce Wayne is one of the more impressive ones that I've seen. And
he killed it. Sorry.
I'm really frustrated that Zack Snyder had so many fucking good ideas. He had so many good ideas. So many great ideas when it came to the Batman v Superman film. And then he made him throw a grenade at people and have machine guns on his Batwing and his Batmobile. Dude.
He really does.
And then his defense it's based on the Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, but like there's another complaint I have where he said, "Oh, it's not Batman killing people, like people are getting killed inadvertently through Batman." Like if you look at the Dark Knight film when Batman crashes into a truck,
I think
he's probably killed that guy, and I'm like, but there's a difference between crashing into a bad guy's truck and throwing a grenade at a bad guy.
I'm only gonna point out, there's a guy on YouTube who goes into like, it's pretty long, so it's like if you could shorten it, but it's like 45 minutes. He talks about how he said Batman doesn't kill, that's why he didn't like the movie. Then he comes back and rewatches, like, he watched the full length one, and he goes through it. He starts understanding more and more through Bruce Wayne's character development and through the signs that are given through him. He doesn't care anymore. Like, he's judge, jury, and executioner, and they are, to him, it is inadvertent. He didn't put a knife. This was the night he was to kill Superman, was the same night he was going to kill somebody. Like, that was his.
Sure.
That's why he's. I know people make fun of why'd you say that name? The dude literally went into a fucking black hole because somebody said a name that he hadn't heard in a long time. So he's standing there like, fuck it up.
But it's more like, why did Superman say that? Like, you'll be like, save my mother. Like my mother needs.
I have heard
saving.
that. Then you have to say it's for the story. You know what I mean? I have to say. Also, I do get that. I do understand that.
Well, no. I actually agree with both of you in different ways. The thing is like the humanization of Superman in that sequence was a beautiful thought. And I mean, why would he say save my mother to a person he doesn't really know all that well? Saying save Martha makes a little bit more sense in the context of this is her name.
Just remember too, he had been dosed with like 3 canisters or something of kryptonite. Then he had a blade right next to his skull. So like, no,
the humanization aspect of it is phenomenal.
But I'm just trying to help people understand why he was like.
I understand.
He's a
I do understand it, but it just feels a bit awkward. Like you would be like, Lex Luthor has my mother, save her.
Yeah, but I've never been hit with 3 canisters of kryptonite, so I don't know how I would be. I might not even be able to form any words.
Has he come out at that point? Like, has he acknowledged to other people, like, Martha is my mother? I mean, that's the other thing, is if you're just saying Lex Luthor has Martha, save Martha, that kind of makes more sense than saying, save my mom, I'm Superman.
Yeah, and that's...
Yeah, but he doesn't even say Lex Luthor has her, he's just like, save Martha.
Think about that, though. Think about that. This guy's trying to kill you. Do you think he really...
Save
do you
someone
really
called
think he
Martha
cares?
From who?
Yeah, but this guy is trying to kill you. Do you really think he cares about your mother? He probably cares more. He knows that the bat saves people. But I'm not gonna. And anyway, this did spring a good conversation of good bat stuff. So that's cool. But
one last thing.
Go ahead. Yeah.
The writer. I want him gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
I despise his work.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to give him work, and I hate it. He's not good. I don't care what anybody says.
What else?
Goyer, right?
But unfortunately, his movies are made billions of dollars, so he's going to keep getting work.
Unfortunately.
Right.
But that's the problem is that Hollywood keeps saying like, oh yeah, well A is associated with B. No, it's Christopher Nolan's cinematography.
Yeah, imagine how much better the movies would have been if he didn't write the scripts.
Ugh,
we might have got Dick Grayson introduced in Dark Knight.
So you guys you don't like Blade either?
What is it? Which one?
Blade.
I'm down.
Which one? He directed and wrote Blade 3, and that was trash.
Yeah, but he was writer on the first 2.
Yeah, and I mean, those were like fun films.
Yeah.
Do you think he's gonna... Sorry, another off-topic thing. Do you think that the guy... I'm blanking on his name. Wesley Snipes will make an appearance in the MCU for some odd reason?
I would like that.
You don't think they're gonna...
Is it happening? We've already got Mahershala Ali as Blade. Unless he cameos as like Blade's dad or something.
Yeah, or like a passer down of the essence. You know, like doesn't Blade... Is he just a vampire? Can he pass his essence? I don't know. But or is he part of he's part of a isn't he part of...
He's not Ghost Rider.
No, he's not Ghost Rider. Yeah. No, but isn't he part of some kind of collective of vampires who hunt vampires?
Blade? No.
No, he's just by himself doing that?
Most of the time.
There's a lot of...
He's a half vampire.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
this is one.
Never mind. Maybe he won't make an appearance.
He is one of the coolest characters to come out of the Marvel universe, and he does not get a lot of storytelling, unfortunately.
Neither does.
Which is
His
really
movie
sad
back
because
ended.
it's kind of like. I hope so. The Eternals is another thing like that. Again, cool characters do not get enough stories. It's weird.
Do you know why? Because they're probably well, never mind. People like that, so.
That all changed for Guardians of the Galaxy, pretty much. Like they were kind of fringe characters until the movies came out, and now they're back in the mainstream.
Which, by the way, the Al Ewing stuff with Guardians is really good right now.
I do want to read it.
It's good. I still don't understand why people love the Dan Abnett run of Guardians of the Galaxy. I respect to Dan Abnett. I'm not a fan. I read the whole thing. I don't understand.
This is Annihilation, isn't it?
Hmm?
Was it Guardians of Galaxy Annihilation?
Yes, that was the introduction at that point. I just don't get it.
I've heard good things, but I've never read it myself. I like his Aquaman stuff. But
his Aquaman stuff's great, but I've read the stuff and it's just there. I've read it and I'm just not impressed.
All right. Enough. Yeah. Let's end this with a rating. Everybody go around and rate. Whoever wants to go first, you're more than.
Are we doing the trilogy or individual movies?
That's tough because it's like, which one's more fair?
Okay, let's do Begins first then.
Batman Begins? Is that what you said?
Yeah, let's rate the movies in order, I guess.
Like a 3.5. Like a 3.5. I think my rating is very ambiguous as well as his movies are. So
Anyone want to go? Or shall I?
I'll go. I give it a 4. It's definitely, somewhat rewatchable. I've seen it several times. I like the first half a lot more than I like the second half.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Solid first half.
Yeah, definitely, all the training and figuring out how things are going to work. It's a lot more fun than, things going off the rails. I guess pun intended.
Yeah. First half was solid.
I'll be
though.
back in a second, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I
What would you give? What would you give Batman Begins?
As a Batman film or as a film?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess anything. However you'd like. Whatever you'd like to umbrella it under, or whatever, under the umbrella, you got that.
As a film, I would say 4 out of 5. As a Batman film, I would say 3 out of 5.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
Not too much to reconcile there.
Nice.
Sorry, it sounded like someone was choking in the other room.
Oh my
No,
god.
well, no dying.
But
Did they
still
eat
alive
chicken?
for now. We'll see. So, where were we? Sorry.
The next movie.
Uh,
Where are we gonna put it? I will give it a 5.
Wait, Ty, what did you give Begins?
You didn't get Sean's rating.
Yeah, and I didn't.
Oh yeah, Sean, what was your rating?
Ty, what was yours? I'm just adding on to the spreadsheet thing.
So, as a film, I gave it a 4 out of 5. As a Batman film, I gave it a 3 out of 5.
Okay. I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Ooh.
Because I thought it was a good year one Batman movie.
I think I'd give the first
Sure.
half of the film a 4.5, but it drug. Oh, the end.
Yeah.
Endings
And
are.
I think just like I
hard.
want to add on to this video about the trilogy is the casting is perfect. Ty, you don't really like Christian Bale as Bruce
Except
Wayne.
for
I think
the
everyone else. Oh, and Tom Hardy as.
What about the
Bane.
recast?
I don't really care about
We
that character.
we lost Katie Holmes.
You know what? So, I gotta say, the fact that they continuously force love interest on Bruce Wayne when his real love interests have been very limited is kind of weird, especially since Catwoman is such a perfect character to do that to. You want to do a Vicky Vale? Fine, whatever. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
history there, but like that's fine. But it's Catwoman all the way, man. Like, why would it be anything else? Maybe the occasional like, oh, I'm gonna go like mess around and fuck around and find out that I don't want to be in this relationship with Poison Ivy, like in the Joel Schumacher films. But I don't know. I think it's weird when people are forced into romance scenarios.
Yeah. But what do you think of the rest of the casting? I know you said Christian Bale wasn't your favorite Batman or Bruce Wayne.
I like.
What do you think?
I love Michael Caine.
I like.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
thought he
prefer
was.
Maggie Gyllenhaal to Katie Holmes.
Wait,
Sorry?
Say it again.
I said I preferred Maggie Gyllenhaal to Katie Holmes.
Me too.
Yeah,
I was
agreed.
just pointing it out. Recast. But yeah, I did like. I liked her a lot better.
I think Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon was fantastic.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman could be anybody. He could play all the
he
characters.
could. He could have played all. Yeah. He could have played every character in the movie and probably would
Watch
have
a one-man theatre production with
Yeah.
Gary Oldman playing Batman and his
I'm down.
cast.
I do really like Gary Oldman.
I
Yeah,
think
he's
Heath
great.
Ledger is the greatest underdog pick of the 21st century, probably.
Yes. Yes,
I
agree.
I think
hated the casting choice.
I think
when
he
saw
paved
it.
the way for anybody else. That somebody said, "Oh, I don't think this guy could play that person." Everyone points
They
back
all-
to Heath Ledger as the Joker. The
Yeah.
only time someone said, Robert Pattinson as Batman, everyone's like, "Well, Heath Ledger, dude."
Dude, that was the
Yeah, I
same thing
agree.
with Ben. A lot of people they say the same thing with why you can look up videos where it's like the comments, it's like the previous comments before the movie dropped. Oh, they'll never do it. They stink, and then they do a decent job, But Heath Ledger was just holy crap.
Watching him,
that's nuts.
every single line, the
I don't
inflection of every single word was perfect.
I don't see him.
Yes.
Like I can't see him with the makeup on. He's not there. I don't
Yeah.
see his face at all. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like I've seen his face without the makeup and just the scars, and I'm like, I see you. I can see you. But when the makeup's on, I lost you, dude. That's
Yeah.
that's how you did a good job. That's how you know. Like I can't even like tell it's you, man. So pretty cool.
In the next year, Oldman.
Oh, I do want to point out. I do realize now that I had the name tags on everybody wrong. I had everybody switched, but whatever. Fuck it. It's the bonus.
Come on, everybody change places.
So yeah, real quick. Yeah. So yeah, cool. Let's move on to the next one though.
Yeah, so
Cool.
Dark Knight.
I give it a
Let's do
5.
the same order as before.
Oh, was I first?
Yeah.
I think I was first. I'll give it a 5. It was dope. It's a dope movie.
Yeah.
Very nice run. It's a really long movie, but it runs very nicely. You know.
Yeah, like I've got some ADHD, so I find it when I'm at the theatre watching movies, I'm fine, like because I've only got one thing to focus on. But when I'm at home watching stuff, I normally pause it halfway through,
Me too.
go up to do other stuff, play on my phone. But like watching this, like it's just captivating. I just watched it
Definitely.
nonstop. It's just perfect.
Yep.
Craven, what are you giving it?
4.75, I guess. It's infinitely rewatchable. But you guys said before, the love triangle in the middle of a movie kind of drags the pace down just a bit.
Damn. You know, when I took my rating in like for this the second movie, I didn't even like take into account the movie. Honestly, I was just giving it a 5 for Heath Ledger. He made
fair.
the whole yeah. I forgot about like anything that might have the love interest. I'm still giving it a 5. It's dope. Crazy.
All right.
Ty, what are you giving it?
Film 5. As a Batman film. So they acknowledge the weird lack of moving of the chin, the death of Maggie Gyllenhaal's character, who no one remembers her name.
Rachel Dawes.
Thank you. Tied to Harvey Dent, tied to, all of it. It's really hard to say that it's a bad film in any way. The thing that you have to recognize, though, is that it's taking serious liberties on what it is to be a Batman film. So
Yeah.
I'm still going to say that it's going to be like a 3.5 out of 5 for a Batman film. But as a film, it's a 5 out of 5.
Okay. Yeah, I'm giving it a 5 out of 5 as well because it is perfect as a movie.
Going to deny it. There's nothing about it. There's nothing about it that you can say is like a bad film. It's not.
No.
It's a fantastic film.
It is perfect.
Very nice.
But yeah, I do see as a Batman movie, Dick Grayson should have been introduced.
I actually like that so much. I'm going to talk about that all day.
Wait, your sound went. Say that again.
I said I like that.
No,
Actually, I like that
don't
idea
praise
so
him
much. That I'm going to
twice.
talk about it all day. I'll praise him 5 times.
All right, next movie.
Yeah.
What are we?
So Dark Knight Rises.
I like the movie. As a movie, I give it a 4. I really did like the movie. But I do think, and the reason it's a 4 is because Nolan and his convoluted nonsense. But I still like the movie a lot. Endings are very hard with me. Like I dig so many movies. I'm trying to watch like horror movies recently, and I was watching this like Hereditary. It's like very well received. I watched it. I liked it. Came to the ending. I'm kind of just like looked at my wife and said, I'm like, am I just that fucking stupid? I'm like, is it not clicking, or is it just not that good of an ending? But endings are hard. So the movie's really good, but endings, to end something, that is an art in itself. And I think the ending of this movie could have been at least less open-ended, because they left it open-ended, but then they hit you with the Alfred scene, and you're like, well, what the fuck did you do that
And
for,
the-
dude? Now I think he's alive.
Lucius Fox scene as well, where he says he fixed the autopilot. The ending would have been a lot better if it was just edited a bit tighter, and like there's a scene where the Batwing like blows a hole in the building and flies through it. And I feel like
Yeah.
if we hadn't seen Bruce after that, it would have been much better. But the fact that we see him in the cockpit after it's already out over the water,
Yeah.
it just gets to the point where he couldn't have got out in time and got away from the blast. So if we theorize he got out in that building but he went through, and we didn't see him after that, the ending's fixed. But it gives this Christopher Nolan ambiguity.
Yeah, I don't want to give it to
Oh
him.
my God,
I don't want to
Ted.
give him the satisfaction. So
Yeah.
Craven, what are you giving it?
I'm gonna give it a Ben Affleck. I agree.
What, 4.5? Sorry.
I agree.
Yeah. I might go a little lower for
A 4? Yeah. Ty?
As a Batman film, 2.5 out of 5, and as a film, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I'm especially annoyed with. You know what stands out to me is honestly the death sequence at the end of the film with what's her name? Rachel Goul's daughter, Talia. When she dies, when she just goes, and that's
Yeah,
it.
that was kind
That's
of
it. That's her death sequence.
That was
brought it
kinda
down.
deep.
That character was terrible.
Yeah, that's no good for
Terrible.
me.
And she's a great actress. Like, what
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah, that
They
was.
brought it back for
Whereas Miranda Tate was just annoying, and then she was Talia, and it was just terrible.
Did Inception happen
I
first?
did like that surprise. I did like that.
Inception was before this, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So they had her in Inception first.
So when I saw Rises, I actually saw Batman Begins, then Dark Knight, and then Rises all in order for a big event going on. I went completely by myself because nobody wanted to commit to the 7 hours of films, and I'm like, no, let's do this. Let's do it. And as a linear story, it does line up very well.
Yeah.
As itself, though, by itself, that's the real issue. Is if you were to just watch that part knowing what happened previously, I think that kind of detracts from.
Definitely. I think
a lot of the
Rises
film
would
experience.
stand. It would be better if it was a standalone movie. Like if they did a Dark Knight Returns style of, like, this is a retired Batman who's having to come out of. I agree there are some elements of it that wouldn't work, but I think because it's weaker than ones that come before it, I think it stands on its own a bit better.
Sure. So I'm going to show you guys who I think.
Do you not
should
want to hear my
have
rating?
been- Yes.
I gave it a 3.25 because I completely agree with your points about it being a terrible Batman movie and the weakest movie of the bunch as well.
Yeah.
No.
It really could have been the best, and honestly, I feel like Bane should have superseded the Joker, and it just ended up being. They made him the side villain character by the end of the film, and you're just like, ta-da!
And his death scene is just so weak, and like, oh, Catwoman just sort of blasts him with the bike, and he just sort of flies off into the wall, and
Yes,
that's the last we see of him.
I completely forgot that Anne Hathaway was in the film.
Yeah.
I don't mind her as Catwoman. I actually like her.
No, I thought she was quite good. Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole time we're
I
talking,
actually
we
don't
didn't
mind
mention her at all.
Yeah. Do you guys know who Javier Bardem is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He should have been Bane. He should have been Bane.
Yeah, I see it.
Change my mind. Yeah.
I don't know him. I don't think I know him. But
He was No Country for Old Men.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
that guy's
Skyfall.
baller. That guy's baller. Yeah, but
I'm in love
could he?
with.
Is he gonna get big or was he gonna get on juice? Gonna be juiced?
He's enormous, dude. He's a thick boy. Damn boy. He's
he
big.
is a big dude. Yeah. All
So
right.
what
Cool. I
about
like him.
maybe Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
Ooh, that one. No, is he Hispanic?
As Bane.
I wouldn't mind it, but I think that having a Hispanic person is really important to the character, considering
Yeah,
like
I
the
agree.
history.
No,
of
no, no.
mass
He was
and-
thinking for Thomas Wayne. That's what he was thinking for. Yeah, in the Flashpoint. So.
And
Yeah, well,
That's what-
he is Thomas Wayne in the Batfleck film, so like,
I know.
That was
I
the
hope in
joke.
Flash
That was a
when they
joke.
do, yeah. I hope when they do the Flashpoint or the Flash movie with the other Batmans in, I hope
telling
he
you.
is in it as
That was the
Thomas
script, baby. That was the whole
Yeah.
point. It was
That movie's never getting made, guys. We're gonna be waiting 10 years until the Flash movie gets freaking made. I swear.
all right. Well, hold on. Let me end it. This has been the bonus, the conversation of the Dark Knight, which went into the conversation of the Batman, which went into spawned many other conversations. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and
Send me your hate.
Yeah, we'll try to we'll try to do a bonus once a month, trying to figure out something to argue about or talk about. So we'll figure it out down the road. But for now,
Absolutely.
everybody, Tabs, you want to say hi and bye real quick?
Hi. Bye.
Okay, there you go. You heard it. You heard it here first, guys. All right.